So in this video, we're going to use some transformations to graph a transformed function, the rational function, and then also identify the key characteristics or key features for the transformed function. So we've got, try that again. We've got 1 over x graphed in blue, and we want to use transformations to graph and label the transformed function k of x. So k of x is right here. And then for k of x, we're going to list out all the key features. So let's start by looking at k of x and seeing what kind of transformations we're dealing with. So the first transformation, we've got a -2 attached to x. So this is going to be a shift to the right 2. And we have outside of the fraction, so it's being added to the whole fraction, a +1. So this is going to go up 1. Now, the reason I do this is to make little notes to myself because I want to take this curve, these curves, plural, and shift it to the right 2 and up 1. Now, currently, we have a vertical asymptote at 0. That's the normal 1 over x asymptote. And we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. Again, the normal asymptotes. So I'm going to take both of those asymptotes and shift them. So the vertical asymptote is going to shift to the right 2. So let me go ahead and draw that vertical asymptote in. So there's my vertical asymptote. And my horizontal asymptote is going to shift up 1. So there's the new asymptotes. Now, this particular curve, if you look from the origin, if you go 1 to the right and then 1 up, you basically find the kind of the curve point of your upper curve. And the same thing if I go left 1, down 1, I'm going to find that kind of pivot point is, I guess, what I should call it for the curve. So I know it goes through that point. So I can do the exact same thing for this transformed curve. So I've got this asymptote here. This used to be the origin. So if I go right 1, up 1, there should be a point right there. And so I'm going to curve towards the vertical asymptote, and I'm going to curve towards the horizontal asymptote. And I can do the exact same thing here. So moving down 1, left 1, would be a red point right here. It's the new transformed curve. I can approach the vertical asymptote and I can approach the horizontal asymptote. Now what I want to do is look at my x and y intercepts, my domain, my range, my vertical and horizontal asymptote for the new curve I just drew. And this particular curve is the k of x curve. All right. So x-intercept, where do I cross the x-axis? Well, that point right there, which would be 1, 0. I can just look at the graph and find that. I can clearly see I cross the y-axis, so I have a y-intercept, but I'm not exactly sure what point it is. So let's go ahead and make x equal to 0 to find the y-intercept. So y is equal to, remember, k of x can be replaced with y. So 1 over 0 minus 2 plus 1. Y equals 1 over negative 2 plus 1. So y would equal positive 1/2. So 0, 1/2. And feel free to pitch this into a calculator if you're not sure. So I'm actually going to do the vertical asymptote before I do the domain, and I'm going to do the horizontal asymptote before I do the range. So vertical asymptote, remember we shifted to the right 2, so that's going to be x is equal to 2. Horizontal asymptote, I shifted up 1, so that's going to be y is equal to 1. So my domain is going to be everything except the vertical asymptote. So I'm going to pitch the vertical asymptote or exclude the vertical asymptote. So negative infinity to 2 joined with 2 to infinity. And the range is going to be everything except for the horizontal asymptote. So negative infinity to 1, and then 1 to infinity. All right, so those are my key features, and that is the transformed graph. All right, problem number 3. We're given the parent function, which is the standard 1 over x function, and we are going to do some transformations on it. Actually, the first one's not even a transformation. The first one's just, what does the curve kind of look like? Now, these are sketches, so you don't have to be perfect at it, but we do know that we have a horizontal asymptote at the y-axis, and there is a vertical asymptote on the, so each of the two axes are your asymptotes. So the curve is going to be in quadrant 1, and it's going to kind of approach both of the asymptotes, but don't cross over them and don't go through them. And it's going to be in quadrant 3 down here. And same thing, curve towards the asymptotes, but don't cross them or touch them. And I know it looks hard, but because the highlighter is kind of thick, it looks like it does touch. All right, so if we've got g of x equals f of x plus 5, this plus 5, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it here, this is shifting up 5 units. So my vertical asymptote doesn't change, right? That's still the vertical asymptote, which is the y-axis. However, the horizontal asymptote has moved up 5 units. So let's go ahead and say this is 5. And so if I make the curve now, my curve is just shifted up. It's still going to approach both of the asymptotes, not cross them though. Okay. And again, approach but don't cross. So the whole curve, right, this curve right here just shifted up 5 units. All right, and then the last one for part 3 here, we've got x plus 5. So the x plus 5 is inside the parentheses, which means this is going to be moving to the left 5 units. So that vertical asymptote that should have been on the y-axis, we're going to just shift it to the left 5 units. So let's go ahead and call that 5 units to the left. The horizontal asymptote is not making any changes. Okay. So what would the curve look like? Well, you're going to be in this upper area to the right. Again, approach your asymptotes, but don't cross them. And then you're going to be in the lower area to the left. Approach, but don't cross your asymptotes. So that's problem number 3. Again, this is the general 1 over x function. This has been shifted up 5. This has been shifted left 5. So we're just looking at those transformations. All right, problem number 4. It's going to be the last one for this video. Got a couple parts to it. So let's see. We have a vertical asymptote at x equals 2. So that means that we shifted this 2 to the right, which, let's go ahead and start filling this in. So 1 over, shifting to the right 2 means that I would have had x minus 2. And then a horizontal asymptote at 1 means I shifted up 1 vertically. Well, shifting up 1 vertically means I had to add 1. So there's my equation. That's the function g of x, and I want to graph it. So let's go ahead and graph it right here and right there. All right. Now these are just sketches. If I wanted perfection, I'd have you put it in Desmos or Calculate 84, but the sketch is good enough for this. All right. So we're given f of x is 1 over x, and we've got a couple transformations that we're going to make here. So let's see, minus 2, that's going to be right 2, and then minus 4 is going to be down 4. So my vertical asymptotes move into the right 2, horizontal asymptote is moving down 4. So that curve is going to look something, let me try that again. I need to be a little bit closer to that asymptote. Curve in, there we go. Follow and curve. All right. Now the function, if we take out the f of x and use 1 over x here. So this is going to be 1 over, moving to the right 2 means we're going to have x minus 2. And then down 4, so minus 4. So there's the function g of x. written as just that function, not using the f of x notation. All right, so, yep, keep going. All right, g shifts f of x up and to the left. So there's no specifics about what you need to do. So let's say if we're going to the left, that's going to put a vertical asymptote somewhere over here. And shifting up means, well, shift it up. Now, you can pick whatever values you want. Will not matter as long as it fits the moving to the left and moving up. So let's say we do 1 over. Now, to shift to the left, I need to add something to x. So let's say I add 3. And then I shift up. Let's say I add 2. That'll shift the graph up vertically. All right, now this, obviously, these answers can vary for this last one because it doesn't specify how far up or how far to the left. All right, if you got any questions or concerns, let me know. The next page, page 3, is going to be a review sheet. I'll put the answers in the key. Let me know.